Let me ask you something personal. When you look in the mirror, how old do you feel? Not the number on your birthday cake, not your driver's license. How old does your body actually feel? Because I researched something this week that completely changed how I think about that question, and it involves a number, a hidden number, that most doctors have never talked to you about. Your biological age, and according to brand new science from Harvard, for millions of Americans in their 50s and 60s, that number is running dramatically higher than the age on your ID. Stay with me. Before we go further, a quick note. Everything I'm about to share is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. I researched this. Always talk to your physician before making changes to your health. Okay, let's talk about something your body has been hiding from you. Here's something almost nobody explains clearly. You actually have two ages. The first one, everyone knows. It's the number of years since you were born. Simple math. But the second one, that's the one scientists have been quietly obsessing over. It's called your biological age, and it measures something completely different, not time, but how your cells, your DNA, your organs, are actually functioning right now. Here's what I found. A study published this year in the journal Aging Cell looked at people of the same chronological age, same birthday on paper, and their biological ages were wildly different. We're talking 10, 15, sometimes 20 years apart. So two people who are both 58 years old, one of them might have the body of a 45-year-old, and the other, the body of a 71-year-old. Same calendar age, completely different biological reality. And here's what matters to you today. Your biological age predicts your risk of heart disease, cancer, dementia, and early death, far better than any birthday ever could. So how do scientists actually measure biological age? This part blew my mind. It starts with something called an epigenetic clock. Here's the simple version. Your DNA, the instruction manual inside every cell, doesn't change, but something else does. Over time, tiny chemical tags attach themselves to your DNA. They're called methyl groups, and they change which genes get turned on and which ones get turned off. David Sinclair, a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School, describes aging like this. He says, imagine your DNA is a CD, the music. That's your youth, your vitality. The CD doesn't change, but over time it gets scratches, and the player can no longer read the music correctly. Your cells become confused. They stop making the right proteins. And that confusion is what we call aging. Now, scientists have built clocks that read those methylation patterns. They're called Grimmage Dunedin-Pace, the Horvath clock. And these clocks don't just tell you how old you are, they tell you how fast you are aging and whether you're on track to die earlier than you should. Think about that for a second. Now, here's where this story gets almost unbelievable. In January 2026, the FDA approved something that has never happened before in the entire history of medicine. They approved the first ever human trial specifically designed to reverse biological aging. Not slow it, not prevent it, reverse it. The man behind this trial is David Sinclair, professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School. In his lab, using a technique called partial epigenetic reprogramming, his team reversed the biological age of animal tissue by 75%. Let that sink in. Old cells behaving like young cells again. The trial, called ER100, is now being tested in humans for the first time right now as you watch this video. The initial focus is restoring vision in patients with glaucoma, but Sinclair himself said at the World Government Summit in Dubai this February, "We are about to test, for the first time in history, whether we can reverse aging and cure diseases." He said if it works, 2026 will be remembered as the year age reversal became real. This is not science fiction. This is a clinical trial. FDA approved, happening right now. Okay, now for the part I wish I didn't have to tell you, because there's a list, and some of it is uncomfortable. Researchers have identified the habits and conditions that most rapidly accelerate biological aging, measured directly on the epigenetic clock. Number 1, chronic stress. When your body runs on cortisol, day after day, your telomeres shorten. Your DNA repair slows down. Your cells age faster. Period. And I actually covered cortisol in depth in an earlier video. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching after this. Number 2, poor sleep. Less than 6 hours a night. The National Institutes of Health found this doubles your dementia risk, but it also directly accelerates your epigenetic clock. Every night of bad sleep, you pay a biological price. Number 3, ultra-processed foods. Researchers at Monash University found every 10% increase in ultra-processed food intake added 2.4 months to biological age, not per decade, per that percentage increase. This is not about being overweight, this is cellular damage. Number 4, smoking, not just lungs. Smoking ages your lung cells by up to 5 years, but it also ages your entire immune system. Number 5, alcohol. The U.S. Surgeon General issued a warning at the start of 2025. Alcohol, even moderate amounts, accelerates biological aging and is linked to 20,000 cancer deaths in the U.S. every year. Number 6, sedentary behavior, sitting all day, every day, independently associated with faster epigenetic aging. Even if you exercise for 30 minutes, hours of sitting still damage your biology. Number 7, environmental toxins, pesticides, benzene, air pollution. A review in the NIH journal found cumulative toxin exposure can steal between 5 and 10 years of healthy life. Combined with our microplastics video from earlier this year, the picture is not pretty. So, that's the bad news. Here's the good news. Every single one of these things is modifiable. What if I told you that scientists measured biological age before and after a diet change and found real, measurable cellular reversal in just 4 weeks? Not 4 years, 4 weeks. This study was published in 2026, and the participants were between 65 and 75 years old. Now, here's where it gets genuinely exciting, because if biological aging can be accelerated, can it also be slowed or even reversed? The University of Sydney published a study earlier this month. In the journal Aging Cell, they took adults between 65 and 75 years old, and they changed their diet for just 4 weeks. Some reduced animal protein, some reduced fat, some shifted toward more plant-based foods. And when they measured the biological age markers before and after, there was real measurable improvement. Cellular level improvement in 4 weeks, not 4 years, not after surgery, not after an expensive drug. 4 weeks of intentional eating. Now the researchers are careful to say, this is early data. This isn't proof that diet alone reverses aging, but it is proof that your biological age is not fixed. It moves in response to what you do every single day. So here's the question I started with. Can you actually find out your own biological age right now without going to a research lab? The answer is yes, and it costs less than a night out to dinner. Okay, so this is what I wanted to know after all this research. Can I actually test my own biological age? And the answer is yes. For the first time in history, these tests are available to regular people, not just research labs. The gold standard uses something called DNA methylation testing. You send in a saliva sample, sometimes a blood spot, and a lab analyzes thousands of methylation markers on your DNA. The most scientifically validated options right now include my DNA GE, based on the original Horvath epigenetic clock, Glycan Age, which measures immune system aging through inflammation markers, and Tally Age, which uses a cheek swab and the Dunnerton pace clock to estimate not just your age, but how fast you're aging right now. Prices range from about $100 to $500. For most people, retesting every 6 to 12 months makes sense. Now, and I want to be clear here, these are not medical diagnoses. They're data points, but they're data points that can genuinely help you understand whether the changes you're making are actually working at a cellular level, and that is something we've never had before. If you've had COVID, and statistically most of you watching this have had it at least once, there is something very specific that researchers found about what it did to your biological clock. It didn't just make you sick, it may have aged you. Now here's a connection I need to make, because many of you who've been following this channel know we did a deep dive on long COVID, and it ties directly into what we're talking about today. Multiple studies have now confirmed that COVID-19 infection, especially severe or repeated infection, directly accelerates biological aging, not just the symptoms. The actual epigenetic clock. Researchers found that COVID drives chronic inflammation, which is one of the primary engines of accelerated biological aging. For long COVID patients, this effect appears even stronger, which means if you had COVID, and especially if you've had ongoing symptoms, your biological age may be running higher than you think. This is not meant to frighten you, it's meant to motivate you, because everything I'm about to tell you in the practical section is directly relevant to reversing that damage. What I'm about to share with you is not a supplement ad. It's not a program. It's a list of 7 things, backed by the exact same science we just discussed, that research shows can measurably lower your biological age. Some of them cost nothing. One of them you can start tonight. Okay, this is the section I know you've been waiting for. And I'll be honest, after everything I researched, this is also the part that gave me the most hope, because the same science that tells us what accelerates aging also tells us what slows it and reverses it. Here are 7 things that research, real peer-reviewed research, shows can genuinely lower your biological age. Step 1. Sleep, non-negotiable. 7 to 9 hours. This is when your brain runs its lymphatic system, essentially a cleaning crew that removes neurotoxic waste. Skip enough sleep and the waste builds up. Get enough and your biological clock slows. Start tonight. Step 2. Reduce ultra-processed food. Not eliminate. Reduce. Remember that Monash study? Every 10% reduction buys you back biological time. Swap one processed meal a day for real food. That's it. Start there. Step 3. Move your body. Every hour. Not just a workout. Breaking up sedentary time throughout the day. Stand, walk, stretch. The research is clear. Continuous sitting ages you even if you exercise. Step 4. Manage your stress actively, not passively. Chronic stress is the silent engine of epigenetic aging. Meditation, breathwork, time in nature, the mechanism is real. Cortisol drives telomere shortening. Reduce cortisol. Slow your clock. Step 5. Consider your relationship with alcohol. I'm not here to lecture, but the science in 2025 and 2026 has become very clear. Even moderate drinking accelerates epigenetic aging. This is worth knowing. Step 6. Reduce toxin exposure where you can. Filter your water. Eat organic when possible, especially for the dirty dozen. Avoid plastics in food storage and heating. We covered microplastics in the brain earlier this year. The connection to biological aging is direct. Step 7. Cognitive engagement. Here's the one that surprised me most. A 20-year study published in February 2026 found that one specific type of brain training reduced the risk of Alzheimer's and related dementia by 25%. 20%. This is the first time any intervention, any drug, any therapy, any lifestyle change has shown this kind of result in a long-term study. The brain that stays active agrees biologically. So those are your 7. Some cost nothing, some cost time. All of them are backed by real science, and all of them start working immediately. What David Sinclair said that stuck with me most was this: aging is not inevitable, it's a program. And for the first time in human history, we might be close to editing that program. The question is, what will you do with that information while you wait for that day? Here's where I want to leave you. For all of human history, we have treated aging like the weather, something that happens to us, something we endure. But what I found in this research is that the science has quietly, profoundly shifted. We now know aging has a mechanism. It's not just wear and tear, it's a program. And programs can be edited. David Sinclair says that extending healthy life by just 1 year in America would generate $38 trillion in economic value. But more than that, it would give people what they actually want. More time, more good years, more mornings, more dinners, more of the people they love. We are not there yet. The clinical trials are just beginning, but the science says your biological age is not fixed. It responds to you. Every meal, every night of sleep, every walk, every choice. And if a 4-week diet change can move the needle on your epigenetic clock, imagine what 4 months can do, or 4 years. The clock inside you is ticking, but for the first time in history, you might have your hand on the dial. I researched this for you. I hope it helps. Take care of yourself. If you found this useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. We put out a new video every week. And if you want to go deeper on any of this, our long COVID episode, the microplastics video, and the cortisol deep dive are all linked right now. I'll see you in the next one.